Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Gattaca, made in 1997, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens,
Meow,
and Ryan Preston. This week we're doing the movie Gattaca, and James has the IMDb's amazing description for you.
Okay, so Gattaca, genetically inferior man assumes the identity.
Sorry, wrong button.
Behind the curtain.
Never mind the man pushing the buttons.
No attention behind the curtain.
Don't look behind the curtain. Gattaca, a genetically inferior man assumes the identity of a superior one in order to pursue his lifelong dream of space travel.
Gotta love IMDb's just broad description of things.
Yeah.
I love the actual term they use for this. What was it? The borrowed ladder.
Right, yeah. Or
There was
degenerate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was two different ones, and the borrowed ladder was kind of a cute one.
Yeah, degenerate was nice and, it was clever.
Yeah. So
Almost too clever.
this one's got a 7.8 IMDb rating, so it's pretty. I would say it's pretty accurate on,
Well, I mean,
on that fact.
I don't know exactly how much success it actually had in the box office, but if anything, this movie's a cult classic.
Yeah, I read somewhere that it was not a box office smash, so I'm pretty sure that it's made more money out of, like, on DVD sales.
Yeah, I'm sure it
yeah.
has. Well, VHS sales back then.
Yeah, it's definitely one that people keep finding.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned last week that a lot of people are saying that this is where the future is ending up, and it's kind of actually interesting. It's fairly true that that's where it's ending up, especially since now that when a woman is pregnant, they will actually offer to do basically a scan to find out if it's predisposed for heart disease, autism, all those different things.
Do they test
already.
for Downs?
Yeah.
Wow.
They test for Downs, all of it. And that's something that they offer for free for most women nowadays.
Right.
So they're already, kind of moving towards the premise of this movie in the sense that if they do have that, well, you have the option to abort and try again, or you can even
Right.
go and genetically engineer your baby too. You can have somebody take an egg sample and, pretty much do a test tube baby.
Test tube things have been around for a little while, but
Yeah.
but this is my favorite type of sci-fi where it takes sort of a bunch of base ideas and sort of takes them to their natural like end point or their
The
extreme.
conclusion, yeah.
So do you
Yeah,
think
and
this is...
and it's based so far in reality that it's not that hard for you to kind of relate to the world.
So do you think this is like what they say about Blade Runner, how Blade Runner takes the shiny, happy future and smashes it into pieces?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, and this one isn't exactly a dystopian type of future. It's sort of just the space between like the class structure is the gap in between like the high class and the low class has gotten
What's like...
Yeah.
big,
They're pretty much this is taking the idea of genetically engineering life, basically, and taking it and putting it in the caste system.
Yeah, it's
pretty much what Ryan's
Yeah.
saying, and that's
It's
pretty
the-
much what it is. And
And they even said it in the dialogue. It was they've got discrimination down to a science.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in this world.
It's the 1950s and 1960s on speed. Instead of hating people for the color of their skin, they hate you for your double helix.
Right,
Yeah, pretty
exactly.
much.
And which, hey, all the people who are bitching about race and women's rights can now shut the hell up, and it's people will still find a thing to discriminate against.
They're
Yeah.
just a bunch of degenerates.
Right,
Degenerates?
exactly.
I can't say it.
But
Degenerates?
that's another thing, like you said, the
Degenerates.
50s and
Degenerates.
60s of the noir feel to the setting was
yeah,
something.
I thought that was a really interesting idea to bring into it, was that whole noir of, and I wouldn't say 1950s. I say that it was more of like a 1940s.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
feel
like
of
the
that.
gumshoe, they called them J. Edgars, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
You're like feds,
It had a very, I'd say, early noir, kind of
Yeah.
feeling it out. It wasn't really particular pinpointed on that, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting how much detail they went into of all the things that he had to do to pass as
Yeah.
a as a a higher cast for himself. And that was, I thought the way that they portrayed his family and how they treated him too was an interesting thing to bring into.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, his dad initially, it looked like when he was born, was going to give him his name, and then he looked at him and pretty much said, no, he doesn't carry my name.
Right. Well, after he's hearing all the things that are going to go wrong, it's like, oh, shit, let's try again. Always in his head, like, oh, we'll make a better one,
Yeah. And I think it was interesting when they decided to have the other kid, and then they put up all the cells of, you can have this one, or this one.
Right.
And
yeah,
it was...
I was thinking about that scene, actually. I was thinking that the pro-life crazy people would have a field day on that scene. Created 4 lives, and you're just going to kill 3 of them right off the bat.
Yeah. It was very well done in that sense of putting together the world that you were entering into. I also...
and with the psychology of the whole thing, the sort of the worry about the parents who aren't, this might be kind of sort of new technology, not really, but it's like, I don't know about all of this kind of stuff. But just based on like, oh, we want our kid to have the best chance, went for it while alienating their other child. And
yeah. I was going to bring up, I thought the acting was really well done. Who was it? Ethan Hawke?
Yeah,
it was
Ethan Hawke, Jude Law, Uma Thurman.
Great actors in this movie.
Yeah, there was a ton of them, and I thought the way he played his role was really well done. And Jude Law, I thought, did a really good job as well.
Yeah, their chemistry together was great.
Yeah,
I liked Uma Thurman's character. Sort of that, a part of that world, but still has her little problems too. But
yeah.
And then seeing people like Ernest Borgnine as a small little character as the janitor guy,
that was weird.
Playing the detective. They had some big names in some kind of smaller roles. It was
I love Ernest Borgnine. I've always been a fan of his. So anytime he's in something, it's like yes, and nobody understands why.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I loved him in Airwolf, but that's aging me a bit.
I thought his role in Basketball was pretty good.
Oh, it was hysterical.
It was one of the better ones. Now, you mentioned the kind of chemistry between Jude Law and and Ethan Hawke. It reminds me of the Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe from A Beautiful Mind, the chemistry they had.
Yeah.
Because they played off each other really, really well.
Yeah.
And it was like they were closer than brothers, which is kind of the same thing that you saw with Russell Crowe and I just forgot his name, Bettany.
Right.
Paul Bettany. And anyway, so that was a really cool thing to see, and I think that really carried the movie through a lot.
Yeah, and watching both of their characters grow, but still with the whole narrative of Ethan Hawke's character. That was actually one of my favorite things about the movie was the whole narrative of just his mind and his train of thought of just like, I have this goal that I have to get to, and it seemed like he was doing it mostly out of just spite, you know what I mean? Like, fuck you, because that's why.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking is, he's just like, you can't tell me what I can and can't be.
Right.
Because I can do it. And that was pretty much what the whole premise of the movie was. Although, one big plot hole that I always thought of is, he's been careful all these years, and then he forgets an eyelash.
Well, see, that's the thing is he doesn't forget an eyelash. He happened to lose an eyelash at a time when there was an investigation going on. He probably lost eyelashes before and lost skin cells before, but it doesn't get registered that heavily unless there's a fucking murder investigation happening at the time.
That's actually one of my points for what I noticed is how does he never get caught? It's just like because obviously your body automatically sheds cells and skin and hair. It's like, and everybody knew who he was. Even other elites actually knew who he was.
No, I think what it was, and they kind of portrayed that during the investigation, was how is somebody like that going to get into here? There's no way. That's the belief system that they have believed, is that everybody outside of the elites are inferior and they can't hold up. they
Yeah.
would all
Right.
perish at some point during the
As
training
far
program.
as the elites are concerned, there's no way anybody can do that.
Except
exactly.
except that one geneticist always knew who he was because of the way he held his like coffee cup and stuff. And the thing I thought was cool about that is the geneticist even said, I guess I'm pretty sure his son was an elite, but his son has
His
problems,
son-
right?
He said his son was supposed to be, but it didn't end up being that way.
Yeah.
And he has problems that are never going to allow him to become an elite. And and the geneticist, or not geneticist, but lab tech,
Yeah.
was saying that he believed that his son had the possibility. And looking at him, he knew that. But I don't think anybody else knew that. I mean, Uma Thurman obviously had some suspicions, but when he basically planted Jerome's hair,
Right.
Yeah, she got that.
she got over that, and then she realized that he couldn't see running through the traffic.
And
Right, and see that's the thing is it seemed like all the little plants in the skin cells and the hair and things like that was all like just in case anybody happened to look, because with the technology, which I love the scene by the way, where the chicks with the lip swabs, like I kissed them 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The perfect dating profile. That was a genius little touch, I thought. But with the technology like that, where if somebody just wanted to kind of check on something, they could. It seemed like a just in case measure, more than than like people are checking all the time. I need to stay on top of it,
Yeah.
And like James said, with everybody not even believing that it's possible, you can do whatever you want.
And
Yeah.
so see, the other one for me is always wondered how Jude Law's character met Tony Shalhoub, the
Shalhoub.
German. Yeah. Like, that was the one part I always wondered, because Jude Law kind of talks about it, but never in clear detail. Because Jude Law talks about how I rented myself out. I should have rented myself out to somebody with a backbone.
Right.
Well-
Well, I mean, it's you get into that black market world. You get yourself crippled. You probably make a couple of phone calls
they
here,
covered
find a
that.
couple of guys.
Really?
Yeah, they covered that. They said that, excuse me, that somebody either, like he said, gets in a certain amount of debt, they'll
Right,
look
they
out
fall on
selling
hard
themselves,
times.
or they fall on extreme hard times, like Jude Law did, where he had lost his legs. He pretty much couldn't do anything that the elites do anymore, except for something like typing on a computer nowadays, or in that time. So he was looking at being taken care of.
Wow, I completely missed that part then.
Yeah. Anyway, they covered that in that scene where he was saying, where he went into the background of how he changed his identity. They did cover that.
Because I don't remember that part.
Anyways, so I thought that was an interesting touch on that. But then to find somebody, I really was bothered by the fact that they're sitting there and saying that he passes as Jude Law. I'm sorry, he does not look like Jude Law that much.
He only had to look like the picture, and the picture, as long as the jawline kind of matched and the haircut,
And the other thing is nobody's going to question a fellow elite. I mean, he has the blood, he has the DNA. Nobody's going to say, you don't look like this guy, if he passes all their tests.
Well, the other thing is that it looked like some of the detectives, or the lackeys of the detectives, weren't elite class. Because I mean, there's that scene where Jude Law is in the wheelchair and he gets hassled by one of the investigators, and he does the thing and chases him out like, "What's your number? Give me your number," type thing. So it does look like that, where the elites are outside of some of the laws.
Yeah, that actually brings me up. His question is, like, because all the invalids have to be registered.
Yeah, so do the elites.
Right.
And so that's the part that interests me, is how did Ethan Hawke's character was never registered?
He was registered.
Well, because
he was registered as Jerome Morrow.
Yeah, he wasn't registered as him. No, he was registered as himself too, wasn't he?
He was registered
No,
as
he
himself.
wasn't registered. He was like off the grid.
Well, no, he was registered, and then he went off the grid for a few years, and they pretty much
when
lost
he became
track of
Jerome Morrow, that's when Vincent went away. Like, as far as they were concerned, like, he was just gone.
Yeah, they assumed he died because he had already lived past his
Because
expiration
his
date.
brother, was actually kind of sort of already on the track. He snipped it out pretty quick, but
Oh, and the fact
And
that
another thing, it seemed like the cops sort of, they had a nose for that kind of thing. They were aware of, degenerates and things like that, that it was a possibility. They always kind of had their nose in that direction. So it doesn't seem like it's outside
The possibility.
that, like that it could happen in that world. Obviously it happens enough, there's a fucking name for it.
Do you think that because obviously some of the people, the non-people in charge were invalids, do you think they knew more than they let on? Like, because the other detective had suspected something but never said anything. So you do think?
Well, I think he was more suspecting like why is my superior officer not kind of doing what I think he should be doing? Like, he's not investigating this the way it probably should be, and there might be a reason for it. So,
well, I don't know. I think they were just basically not allowed to say anything to him.
Well, he said something, but it was more like he did say stuff, but he was more like, well, this is, I'm sorry, this is what I think. He was very apologetic when he mentioned what he was thinking, almost like, like the elite shouldn't have to listen to this guy.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
That's probably half of it, like part superior officer, part just, like, all right, you're the elite, I can't really question your authority kind of thing.
Well, it was more like he was submitting his opinion to him, and it was being ignored. Because that's what was going on. But now, as far as I'm concerned, the whole plot thing of the previous director dying, that plot course
was weird.
It wasn't weird. It was just like that was such an easy to figure out that Gore Vidal, director Joseph, was the one who killed the guy.
But that's right. It almost seemed like a side storyline.
It was a side storyline, but it was it
was
a motivator.
It was really just a little kind of shove in the direction of like let's get this guy almost caught, like it was a plot mover.
Yeah, it was basically a plot mover to get back to the fact that the guy was
so it was a MacGuffin to move the story.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. But I was always like, it was the director. It was very simple.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
when he said it doesn't stop the worlds from turning, it's like, you unremorseful bastard, you killed him.
Yeah.
So this is, do you think, because I'm thinking this is more of the line of like a sci-fi fairy tale. It's a very hopeful movie.
Fairy tale?
Well, the way you look at it is this guy who everything was against him. He's not even considered worth living because he doesn't have the genes to prove what he knows he can do. And then he works himself up. All this situation helps, and then he becomes the elite of the elite. If you notice it, most people won't question him because he's the best Gattaca has, and he's technically an invalid. See, I was thinking this is more of a twist on a fairy tale, because it's a very positive-looking movie, even though it's in a very semi-dystopian future, I think.
Well, sort of. I don't know if I'd agree with well, maybe semi-dystopian.
Well, that's semi, because you're being completely
I don't know if
based
I'd
on
agree with the sort of the fantasy aspect. I think it's just more, like, look, here's a story of a guy who just has a goal and will do absolutely anything to reach that goal, including making himself 2 inches taller by adding bone or whatever the fuck they did.
Oh, I actually,
just like the intensity of the human spirit kind of thing, like what you can accomplish, like I said before, like out of what seemed like pure spite, like,
F
like,
you.
I'm gonna do this just because you said I can, and this is my dream, and I'll find a way to do it,
What about you, James?
I don't see it as a fairy tale either. I see it as basically what Ryan was saying, is the fact that he's just, you guys say I can't, I say I can.
Okay, yeah, you guys, I guess you guys are right. That makes sense.
I'm trying to figure out where you're coming from on this fairy tale thing. Like, where do you see the fairy tale here? Are you talking about the fact that he's basically saying that come from behind thing?
Yeah, the come from
like
behind.
A Rudy?
Yeah, that.
I never saw Rudy as a fairy tale.
There's a joke there. I guess maybe fairy tale was the wrong way to put it. It's just, he started from,
the rags to riches story.
That type of thing.
Slumdog Millionaire,
more or less. Yeah, I guess that's the better way to put it than fairy tale. So yeah. We're running up against.
I'd just give it just to give it a star. I'd say I would give this one a 4.
Ryan?
Should I actually agree. I was kind of debating actually with my roommate earlier, like oh man, is this gonna be a 3 or 4? And it leans towards 4 just because, well, one, repeat watchability, and I think that says a lot right there. Is when it's sort of this kind of half detective sort of thing going on, that then you find out what happens. Usually don't watch those movies again, but this one, there's just a lot of those little things that makes it fun. Again, I love the noir feel. I'd have to go for just just because of how much I've seen this damn movie.
I'll actually have to, because I never thought I'd say this, because when I first saw it in '97, I thought the movie was dull as a ton of bricks, but it definitely...
it is slow.
Well, it's not as slow as I remembered, though, is the issue. It's not as bad as I remember.
Well, you were like a kid back then.
No, Ryan was the kid. I mean, come on, he's only 12 now. So...
Jeez.
I definitely have to give it a 4 out of 5. It definitely aged better than I think it did. The only thing I think that stops it from being maybe a 5 for me in some level is because I'm tired of every quasi-scientist dragging this out every couple of years and saying this is what the future needs to be.
Well, and that's kind of the funny thing to me is from '97 to now, it's still the not too distant future, and from now into 2030, it's still going to be the not too distant future. It's always going to kind of hold up in that way. Like it's got that kind of. It's weird to have like an evergreen kind of sci-fi movie like that. You know?
This movie is one of those that, I mean, if we continue to, try to unravel genetics, this movie is going to be one of those things that is going to hold up because they had completely unraveled and understood genetics.
Right, and they didn't jump into the crazy science of it. They just said, look, now we can do this.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing about this movie that really tells its age are the computers. Yeah. Besides that, I think this movie has actually aged better than most sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I will give you the computer thing. I mean, even, Star Trek Next Generation called the iPad.
Yeah. So that's the only thing. Besides that, I actually think this movie aged really well. Matter of fact, I don't even think Blade Runner to me aged as well as this movie did.
No, not at all. Well, and especially we'll definitely be able to tell that in probably another 10 years. Well, shit, this movie's 15 years old. That's crazy hard to believe.
Yeah. So, Ryan, what's movie news you have for this week?
Well, a couple random things. I found out the kid from Into the Wild, Emil Hirsch, he's going to be heading up the Bonnie and Clyde movie. He's playing Clyde.
Oh.
Who's playing Bonnie, do you know?
You know what? I
Emma Stone?
I can't remember her name, but...
that would actually be interesting.
And, when was the last time they made a Bonnie and Clyde movie?
It's been a while.
50s?
Well, was it the 50s? Yeah. They never remade it after that, did they?
I don't believe so.
Now would be a definite good time to do something like that.
I don't think they did one in the 70s.
No,
I know they didn't do one in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
Well, the funniest thing about Bonnie and Clyde, they're actual, Bonnie and Clyde, 1967.
Really?
With
that makes sense.
With Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, but they haven't done one since.
That's not what nothing.
Even a TV for a movie.
According to IMDb.
All right.
Which is crazy. I mean, and I think there were some things that sort of came out about Bonnie and Clyde, like way after that movie that they could probably add into it. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that up because I'm looking forward to it. There were some screenshots of it. Looked pretty good.
The funniest thing about that, their actual car is in some casino like a couple of miles outside of Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still got the bullet holes in it.
Yeah. Well, what? Do you think they're going to pound those out?
Yeah, we'll get a little Bondo on those things. Let's
Bondo
clean
all
this thing up a little bit. Some turtle wax, maybe.
Get the blood stains off of the
Imagine if somebody just did that. Just kind of, hey, I detailed your car for you, you son of a bitch.
That's a great way to get shot up.
So what was your other news?
The BAFTA Awards just happened. I thought I'd piss James off by mentioning that the best director and best film was Ben Affleck and Argo.
I actually thought he deserved that for this year because I've heard a lot of positive things about this
movie. I saw the movie. It was fucking awesome.
This one, I'm actually interested in seeing it, and I actually expect this one to be better than any of his other ones.
Oh, yeah, well...
So I'm not surprised. I mean, was Matt Damon involved in it?
I don't think so.
No.
It's not going to be as good as I hope.
Well, our buddy D-Day Lewis pulled out a Best Actor, Best Supporting. Christoph Waltz is obviously going to pull out probably every award that he's nominated for that shit. But, again, it's just a BAFTA, so who really cares? The thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, though, is I went to go see the Texas Chainsaw 3D movie.
Was this...
Wait. Hold on. Let me get this right again. You went to go see? Like, you actually went into a theater and paid $15 a ticket to see this in 3D?
Correct.
The question for you, was this filmed in 3D or is it a post,
No, it was filmed in 3D because it's not a remake. It's actually a sequel.
So it's not post done.
To all the other
this is the one that was made not too long ago, right?
It's only a sequel to the first one.
Oh, okay. So what did you think about it?
It's a fucking Leatherface movie. I don't know what the hell anybody else would expect.
Well, my question is, did they do, because they had it was Jason 3D or one of Friday the 13th 3D where they had all these obvious, like the guy was poking the screen, and they do a lot of the stuff.
No,
like that?
it wasn't. It was a story. I mean, they tried to tell the sequel of the movie. It was just
so no stupid 3D stuff.
I mean, it was still lame. I mean, it had some good parts. It had some good, some good CGI, some good effects.
So, okay, where's the point that you're going with this?
The point that I was making was before the movie, they play these things called trailers.
No.
So,
Never
in one of
seen them
these
before.
trailers,
Were the trailers in 3D?
they showed me something that I had to go home and immediately look up a bunch of shit about. They're remaking Evil Dead.
Yes.
Wait, you didn't know that?
Favorite fucking horror movies of all
Wait,
time.
wait,
Sam
wait.
Raimi's original Evil Dead. They're remaking it.
Yeah, and Sam Raimi's not involved.
You didn't know that was coming
No,
out?
I didn't know that was going to be remade.
I've already seen
until I
like
saw
3 of the trailers.
I mean, look, dude, I hear about a ton of movies that are going to be remade. Maybe 5 out of 100 actually fucking make it to the screen.
This one looks crazy good.
It looks nutty.
Well, this is the one that
did it.
Did you see the trail? Did they do the trailer with the tree that's like yanking the chick around?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
And this is the one that actually one of the directors actually went to Bruce Campbell.
This sort of no-name dude from like Uruguay or something like that, who's done a couple of short things, but like this is like his first film, like his first feature film, and it's for a huge thing like Evil Dead, huge studio work and all that stuff. Apparently he co-wrote it with Diablo Cody, the chick that wrote Juno and Young Adult.
Okay.
Which I think she just got a ton of fucking awards for Young Adult.
So what was Bruce Campbell's character's name? Was it David?
No, it was Sam Ash.
Sam Ash?
I think it was Ash.
I don't remember.
Shit.
Because I'll be honest, it's been such a long time. And according to this, Evil Dead, it's be released 2013. It's only an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, flat 90 minutes, but it's literally billed as like the most terrifying movie, so they're taking it, really, really seriously.
I actually
it's supposed to be freaking terrifying. I've seen some screenshots since then that just look freaking hardcore. So I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I've known for months now. I'm surprised you didn't hear anything about it.
I didn't,
Oh, interesting. According to this, the director is it Fede Alvarez, but the writer Sam Raimi's actually involved in this movie.
So we're gonna. I think for this one, when it comes out, we should do a older version and
I'm down with that.
prequel to the new version.
Because I've actually heard somebody involved in it went to Bruce Campbell and asked it, is it okay if I remake this?
Well, I mean, it's one of those movies that's I would even go as far as say this one's like an underground cult horror movie.
Oh yeah, well, it was
total.
one of those, like when Rambo 2, 3, and 4 came out, everybody remembered First Blood as this campy movie. It wasn't. It was a serious fucking film.
Yeah.
Same with Evil Dead. Like Evil Dead was an Evil Dead, and then came Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and sort of skewed people's memory of Evil Dead. But the first one kicked so much ass.
Yeah, it was a really crazy, one of those really just good horror flicks. It was, I would say that one wasn't one of those jumpy ones that I've always disliked, like where they make scenes that are loud and sharp to get people to jump. It was more one of those that was, I guess I would say more like the psychological that would mess with your head
I'm gonna creep
later.
you out the whole time.
Yeah.
According to this, it'll be released April 5th.
April 5th, 2013.
It's actually pretty soon.
Couple of months, yo.
I'm actually surprised it hasn't gotten more press. I thought they would have done more marketing.
If you pay attention online, it's all over online.
Really? I haven't seen anything for it.
I've seen a bunch of stuff for it.
It seemed like when I was watching the trailer at Texas Chainsaw, it was like sort of like the first kind of like, hey, we're just now announcing this kind of thing.
Really? Okay. No, because I've known about it for months.
Well, that's because you look at this shit all the time.
Well, I've known about it for quite a while, but I didn't actually
announce
know
to the general public, like, hey, look at this thing that we just did, you know.
I didn't actually know there was a trailer because I heard about this a long time ago, but I actually didn't know they released any trailers.
There's been trailers out for a while.
I have to go find one. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan...
Next week.
Thank you. I was going to say...
And we should do an announcement for the month that we're going to be doing that.
So, why don't you give the announcement?
All right, fine. So, next week we're going to be in theaters with Hansel and Gretel. And you got to look forward to that one. What'd you say?
Yeah, look forward to handling Gretel.
What?
Nothing.
What? Huh?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Children.
Anyway, and then we were discussing doing Kubrick month upcoming. So if you guys know anything about Kubrick, look up some of his movies, like Clockwork Orange, The Killing. These are some of the ones that we're tossing around. 2001: Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket.
And if you don't know anything about Kubrick, stay tuned.
Shut up,
and you'll learn.
Yeah.
You'll learn more than you ever wanted to know.
Probably.
All right.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I gave the movie Gattaca a 4. James gave it a 4 out of 5. And Ryan gave it a 4 out of 5. And we'll see you next week.
They will support you. They will do referrals between clients. You can't ask for a more complete marketing package.
We love the windfall!
And you can too. Think advertising with the Windfall couldn't get any better? Well, it just did. For only $125 for a 30-second commercial filmed by Old Guy Tech TV, you can be seen and heard.